Hi, how are you? It's Louis Das from English AC Louis channel. Wishing you well. Wherever you are, whatever you do, by the grace of God, I believe that you are all in good health. Okay guys, straight away we will go into today's video. As I had already informed you, I am just going to deal with conditionals in English for the next 3 or 4 videos. In the introductory part, I had just mentioned to you the names and the types of conditionals that we have in English. Now, in this video, I'm just going to explain to you in a detailed manner how conditionals work or what do they do as far as English grammar is concerned, and how are they used, what are we supposed to do when we use conditionals in English. Okay, so before we start to know the names of the conditionals or transformation of conditionals from first type to second type or third type or zero type, whatever we have the number of types that we have as far as conditions are concerned, we need to know certain basic information. So what I am going to explain to you today is what are we supposed to know before we understand conditionals. Okay, I say this because they are all very much necessary for us to write proper sentences in conditionals. Okay, so let me go into the board straight away and let me write conditionals. Okay, conditionals. When you hear the word conditionals, as I had already told you, we need to know the two words. What are those two words? First one is if, another one is unless. Okay? So these are the two words that we need to pay attention to. If and unless. If and unless, the meaning of unless is if not. Meaning of unless is if not. Okay, just keep this in mind for the time being. Now, I will write a few sentences or phrases or few words, and then I will come to you and ask you, and you can answer wherever you are mentally and in your own words, and see how far we can understand this properly. Okay, guys? Okay, now come. Now, if I write the words like this, see, being, in spite of, okay, in spite of, maybe on account of, in the event of, or having. Okay, so these are a few words that I am writing you on the board for you to become familiar with. What do they do actually? What are they known for? What are these words known for? Being, of course, this is adding ing to the be verb. Be verb. So we can call this as word as far as the conditionals are concerned. Conditionals are concerned. And then, so be, when you are adding be plus ing, and we will use this. We will use this ing form of the word here, especially when we start transforming from one type to the other in conditionals. What about this one here, in spite of, on account of, in the event of, or similarly having also, having. So, all these words, you see, there are three words in each of these phrases. So we call them as phrases. So we call them as phrases. You know what are phrases? What are phrases actually? Phrases are nothing but group of words where they used to have a complete meaning. You may not have subject, verb or object, but then you will have subject, you will have a complete meaning in all those phrases there. Okay, so here in spite of, So for the time being, just remember these words. These words are there for us to understand. But when we are dealing with conditionals, why do I say this? Because we need to pay attention to certain words. So we call them as phrases. So let me write few sentences here. And see what can be done with those sentences here. Okay. See, let me say when the players arrived. When the players arrived. Okay. When the players arrived. Being late to the school. Being late to the school. Being late to the school. Okay. If you are kind. Okay. If you are kind. Or unless you are serious. Or unless you are brave. So when you look at this group of words, what has come to your mind, dear friends or viewers? When the players arrive, being late to the school, if you are kind, unless you are brave. Now what do they tell you? All the sentences, what do they tell you? Actually, they are group of words. But you can see when the players arrive, you have the starting word one here. Players as noun, and then arrived is a verb. And then here, of course, you have the verb here, late to the school. If you are kind, sentence beginning with if, and the group of words beginning with unless. Alright. Now, when you look at this group of words here, we can come to a conclusion. So there are words written together, but then do they give you complete meaning here? Just look at them. Do they give you complete meaning? Do they give you complete meaning when the players arrive? So what happened? Being late to the school. So what does it mean? What are you trying to say? If you are kind, so who is bothered whether you are kind or unkind? Unless you are brave. See, one thing that we can arrive at as a conclusion by looking these sentences is they are group of words having some meaning, but the meaning is incomplete. But when I said here, on account of, in spite of, in the event of, and all those things, I said meaning is complete there. But you see, though these group of words are smaller in unique than these, but here the meaning is complete, but then here the meaning is not complete. So that's why we call these as phrases, and we call all these as clauses. So clauses. Since I have written about 4. Clauses means, so phrases, in other words, group of words having no subject, verb and object, but giving complete meaning. Whereas clauses, though they may have subject, verb, object, they don't give us a complete meaning. But they may be bigger than, the unit is bigger than the phrase. Okay, just remember this for the time being before we go into the conditionals. So now, having this as a kind of an introduction to learn what are conditionals, let's move into the idea of understanding the conditionals now. Okay, just listen. Now let me write a sentence on the board. Let me write. I would like to concentrate on one particular proverb. So by using that particular proverb, I am just going to pay your attention or get your attention to understand the conditionals better. Okay, what is that proverb that I would like to hear? I would like to write here is, see, hear much, and speak little. So remember this. So this is only for an example. This has nothing to do with the conditionals, but I am using this verb and the important words for my usage of making you to understand the conditionals. Okay. Now, since we are studying about conditionals, the word if has to be the first word. Be here the first word. So the sentences will begin with if. Okay. Now let me write here just one thing. If we hear much. Okay. If we hear much, we will speak little. Okay. If we hear much, we will speak little. Now, how many sentences are there? There are two sentences. So, from here to here, you have one sentence. From here to here, you have another sentence. Alright? So, if we hear much, we will speak little. Now, how does this sentence begin here? How does this sentence begin? This sentence begins with the word if. Condition, in other words, yes, friends, conditions are nothing but you do something provided you may get something out of it. And then in order to get what you want, you fix a target, you fix a condition. Okay, if you do this, I will do that. If it is done, I will do this. So like that, you need to, you are having a hold on something. So that is what is known as condition. So the condition actually begins with the if. I told you phrase and clause just 10 minutes ago, and we will come back to that. We will come back to that now. We will come now to the phrase and clause. See now, how does this sentence begin? Begins with if. Now this is a group of words. This is a group of words. We have if, we, hear, much. There are 1, 2, 3, 4 words there. Since this beginning with if, a group of words, of course we can call this as clause. Okay, we can call this as a clause. But does this clause have a complete meaning? Just read that. Does this clause have a complete meaning? See, if we hear much, just concentrate only on this one. If we hear much, so it's a clause here, beginning with if, group of words. We know that. And of course, then you need to pay attention to every word and the function of every word in this group of words. Now what is this one here? This is your subject. Okay? So I call that as yes. This is your subject. And what is this one here? This is your verb. This is your verb. And of course you can have this as a determiner or adjunct, whatever you may call it, you can have. And then, see, you may call that as an object or adjunct, you may call that anything. Let's say for example adjunct. And this is actually determiner. Okay, much. Measurement. So, see now, and is suppose starting, beginning word, if we hear much. Now this is subject here. Here, of course, is a verb. Remember, whenever we talk about verb, what do we talk about? our mind should immediately go to tense. Alright? Tense. Now what is the tense of the verb here? This is simple present tense. So this is simple present tense. So your verb is simple present tense. Okay, now come back to this sentence now. Come back to this sentence now. We will speak little. Again you have group of words. Again you have group of words. Okay, so we is your subject, will speak is your verb, and little is your, similarly you have object or adjunct, you can have that. Now forget about this sentence, read only this one. We will speak little. You have the subject, you have the verb, you have the adjunct or object. Again I am asking you the same question. Does this sentence have a complete meaning? It may look like a complete sentence. We will speak little. Of course, it begins with the verb, subject. You have the verb and you have the adjunct, object-like thing. But the meaning is not complete. This is again another clause. Okay? So this is again another clause. This is again another clause. See? So there are two clauses. In the first clause, in the first sentence, we have the verb in simple present tense. See now? Just remember, simple present tense. Simple present tense. And here, what is the verb here? Will speak. What is the tense here? Simple future. Okay, future tense. Simple future tense. Simple future tense. Alright? We will speak little. Simple future tense. So, this is another information that you must pay attention to. You have the sentence beginning with if, subject, verb, object. So, in the group of words here, when you have the verb in simple present tense and when you have the verb in simple future tense, this is known as the first type in conditionals. Okay? First type in conditionals. And the type is called probable condition. Probable condition. We have another word for this. Probable means maybe you can say possible condition. Alright, possible condition. Why you say that this is probable or possible condition? This is because what is the meaning of the sentence here? If we hear much, we will speak little. So the idea behind this, when can we speak? When we speak little, we will hear much. So when can we hear much? When we speak little. So if you want to speak little, you must be able to hear much. Alright? So remember, so this is the first type, probable condition, possible condition. And one more information that we need to know. Since this clause is beginning with the word if, you may call this as if clause. You may call this as if clause. You may call this as if clause, and this is your main clause. This is your main clause. We will speak little is your main clause. Remember, this is not a sentence. This is not a sentence. That's why it is called clauses. Clauses is the second, of course, the last biggest unit. Rather, the biggest unit of any language is a sentence. in which you will have a subject, verb, object, and the meaning will be complete there. You will have at least one subject, one main verb, one object, by which you can understand the meaning of the sentence completely. But here, even though you have subject, verb, object, still the meaning is incomplete. That's why it is known as clause. But when will the clauses have the complete meaning? When they are written together. When they are written together. So when they are written together. If you hear much, you will speak little. And this is what is known as first type. This is what is known as first type. Now, let me explain to you what is the first type. Because I am not going to continue with all the other types. It will take a long time. So I will stop with this for the time being in this video. So first type is nothing but your first clause is known as if clause, sentence beginning with if, and your verb will be in simple present tense. And in your main clause, you have the subject, verb and object, and your verb will be in simple future tense. So remember, the name of the condition is possible or probable condition, in which if clause will have verb in simple present tense, and your main clause will have the verb in simple future tense. So this is what is known as probable or possible condition. So we will continue with the same sentence again. What is the change made in another type? Okay, so is that clear? Just go through in your mind what are we trying to talk about here. Conditionals are very simple, if and unless two words that we must be able to remember now. The first type is known as probable condition or possible condition. There will be one more information that you can remember. See, when I say if clause, since it is beginning with if clause, you can say this as if clause. Otherwise, in another words, it is known as subordinate clause. Okay, subordinate clause. And this is also known as subordinate clause. Subordinate clause, and there is another name also for this one. Subordinate clause means dependent clause. Okay, so dependent clause. Dependent clause. So remember, dependent clause, subordinate clause. But as far as conditions are concerned, since this is beginning with the if, you may call this as if clause. That's why I said if clause here. Now for main clause, we have another word. This is independent clause. Okay, independent clause. So various names that I had introduced already to make you to understand the first type in conditionals. So we will continue with the rest of the grammar as far as conditions are concerned in the next video. Until then, I am signing you off. It's your teacher Luis Das. See you guys. Have a good day, a nice time wherever you are. Good. Thank you.